All right, so I think we're recording, but I'm not 100% sure because, as you may be able to tell, I'm currently blinded by the sun. Unfortunately, this is the only spot and position that makes sense for lighting to be able to record, so I'm just going to be squinting the entire time. Nonetheless, I just got back from the hospital from getting my first treatment from the new immunotherapy treatment, and I thought it was important to make a video kind of sharing what the new treatment's like, how it's similar to the old one, what's different, names and stuff like that. And I even have some props too. So let's get into it. So the last immunotherapy treatment was only immunotherapy. There was no pills that I had to take with it. And it was called atezolizumab. And this one is called pembrolizumab. So very similar. It's within the same family. Same thing, go to the hospital every 3 weeks. They put in an IV and, intravenously feed it into my veins. Takes about half an hour with a 10 to 15 minute rinse at the end, just like the other treatment before it. So on that front, nothing really changes. In terms of side effects from that, pretty much what I was getting from the last one. So on that front, nothing really changes. What really changes is the pills that I have to take with it now, which luckily for me, they give me at the hospital every time I'm going to get a treatment, so I don't have to worry about going to the pharmacy every time and getting them. However, it does seem a little more intense than normal pills or any other medication I've taken. So it's called axitinib, and there's a warning on the label to wash your hands after manipulation. And the pharmacist who went over everything with me when I was getting my treatment also mentioned it's kind of like when you're getting chemo and they say to avoid contact with other people or pets or stuff like that. It seems to be kind of the same thing for this. So it seems a little stronger than anything I've taken before. So in a way, it's good that my wife isn't here, so I don't have to worry about that. The thing is, that's kind of the plan for the foreseeable future. So I'm like, I don't know what this means when we will be together, but let's cross that bridge when we get to it. Point is, there's much more side effects for these pills than there are for the actual immunotherapy treatment. And by the way, I want to point out that this is an orange bottle, and I'm happy about that because, well, it doesn't really matter, but I like orange. So, that's a win. Okay, so let's get into the side effects of the pills. As I mentioned, side effects for the immunotherapy itself are pretty much the same as before. Never really experienced that many side effects, so I don't expect to experience anything from this. But the pills, there's a few potential ones. So let me just go over the documentation. So, as with a lot of medications, they recommend avoiding grapefruit, but I already, stopped eating grapefruit because of other medications I was taking. Plus, I never really was a huge fan of it, so I rarely ate it anyway. So not really an issue. The biggest issue, I would say, is also to avoid anti-acid medication. Now, that's not an issue because I'm not taking any. The issue comes in the form that one of the alternative treatments that I'm doing is to alkalinize my body. And the way that I do that is every morning I take a glass of water, put half a teaspoon of baking soda in it and half a lemon, mix it together and drink that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that combination of chemicals is very similar to antacids. So I asked about it, and she went to check, and she's like, we don't have any definite proof that it could interfere with the treatment, but there is a possibility. However, there's no need to stop completely. Just make sure there's at least a 2-hour gap between when you take the pills and when you take the water with lemon juice and baking soda. So as long as I respect that. There shouldn't be any issues on that front. It's a little kind of, it's not ideal simply because I'm supposed to take the water, lemon juice, and baking soda on an empty stomach. So basically, first thing in the morning when I get up, the only thing is I usually take that and then prepare breakfast and then eat breakfast. And while I'm eating breakfast, I take my pills because certain pills are just easier for the body to assimilate and to avoid side effects by eating it with food. So that's kind of been my routine. Unfortunately, because I have to wait 2 hours to take these pills, that just kind of complicates things. So haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to do, but we'll figure it out. It's not really that big a deal. And by the way, I'm supposed to take one of these in the morning and one of these at night. So let's see, what else in terms of potential side effects? So there's potential for diarrhea. There's kind of like different levels here that they cover. It's like, you know, this from this level to this level, and then this level, and then this level, and then what to do. So it's like, you know, continue treatment or suspend treatment and call us and we'll explain what to do. If it's like extreme level, go to the ER and everything. So it's like, you know, kind of making sure to understand exactly what to do if that symptom arises. So I'm hoping that won't happen, but we'll see. Another one is increased blood pressure. Now, I already knew that. My pivot nurse told me about it when she kind of covered everything in the beginning over the phone. And she did mention that. She's like, hey, I would recommend you get a blood pressure machine. That way you can check it every morning when you wake up and make sure that your blood pressure remains consistent. And she kind of already gave me the, you know, the different levels of like, if it's between this amount and this amount, like that's normal. If it's underneath that, it's low. If it's above that, it's high. And if it's beyond this amount, then okay, something is wrong, like go to the ER or contact us. And you know, this just kind of goes over the same thing. So I do have a machine. I did buy it last week, I believe. So I'm ready. Starting tomorrow morning, every morning when I wake up, I'm going to take my blood pressure. And there's an app that comes with it, so I can just kind of like input all the data in there automatically, so I don't have to, you know, have a journal or remember everything. So, you know, kind of a hassle, but not the end of the world. It could be much worse. Let's see, what's next? So there's potentially, it could affect my hands and my feet in the sense that it could cause irritation of the skin, kind of like tingling, numbness, redness, and there's, you know, different levels once again for that and what to do if the, you know, if those different levels arise and those symptoms come up. But, you know, there's also potential for skin irritation and stuff like that for the immunotherapy that I was doing before, and I never really had it, only once really. So I'm not, you know, I'm kind of hopeful that I won't get any of these side effects, but it's still kind of good to know that it's a possibility. And at least I have the information. That way it's like, okay, if I do get this, then I know when to worry and when not to worry. And then finally, it's nausea. And, you know, once again, they show the different levels. There's a bunch more of different things like that they mention, but she really highlighted those and went over those ones I spoke about specifically, because those are the most common ones. But, you know, just for fun, let's go over all of them. So the ones I didn't mention was fatigue and diminution in appetite, which, you know, I already have, so I don't really think it'll be an issue. It already is, so, you know, probably not a big deal. Let's see. Okay, so skin irritation aside from just specifically the hands and feet. Inflammation of certain glands, not quite sure which ones, but let's hope that doesn't happen. Change in voice, yeah, that one my doctor mentioned to me. He's like, you know, this specific type of medication, if you take for an extended period of time, so let's say after like, you know, 8 or 9 months, it could potentially start affecting your voice, making it kind of like, you know, maybe a little deeper, more gravelly, to which, of course, I made a joke of like, you know what, I don't think my wife will mind if I sound like Vin Diesel for a couple months. And the thing is, it's just like while you take the treatment, so even if it does happen, once I stop it, it's going to go back to normal, so not really a big deal. But I just thought that was kind of funny. Weakness and pain in the muscles. So there could be a little bit after, taking the pills or getting the treatments. But once again, it wasn't highlighted, so it's not really something to worry that much about. And potential loss of hair, but once again, that's rare that it happens and usually not that much, so not really worth worrying too much about. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. So that's about it. So new treatments, pembrolizumab and axitinib, and yeah, apparently it's dangerous because I have to avoid, being in direct contact with people and pets, which is not really an issue because I don't see that many people, and the people I see, like, maybe I'll hug them when I see them, but like, it's not like, I'm like rubbing my face on them or anything, so I don't think it'll be an issue, and I don't have any pets, but still, it's a little like, it's not really scary, but it's just like it makes you think when you see a bag like this and it says like, it's a chemo drug, even though I'm not receiving chemo, it's like they still put it in this bag, and caution and stuff like that, and like on the label there's a warning of like, wash your hands after manipulation, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, this seems a little more intense than what I've experienced in the past. So we'll see how it goes. Just got my first treatment today. We'll start taking the pills later today, and then twice per day for, well, pretty much the foreseeable future. So yeah, that has been the update. And I know I kind of slid this in between two other videos that are completely unrelated to this in topic, but I just thought it was important to share it because it's something that, just happened. It's something important in my, journey. So I just thought it was important to publish it now as opposed to delaying it until I could kind of like finish those other related videos. So I'm just kind of like sliding in between. But don't worry, I'm going to address probably in my next video the subscription that I mentioned in the previous video. It's something I'm thinking of doing, and I would like your feedback on it. If it's something you might be interested in, if so, what would you want me to include, and so on and so forth. So I'm definitely going to make a video on that, focusing, specifically on that and what it could potentially look like, see if it's a good option. So, stay tuned for that. Probably going to be in the next video, unless something really intense happens between now and tomorrow. But that's kind of the plan at the moment. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this update, and I'll talk to you in the future, and hopefully next time I won't be blinded by the sun. Blinded by the sun.